The selection procedure for Bajaj consisted of two rounds. The first one was written round, and second it was followed by interview. Written round consisted of two sections. The first section, each section consisted of 25 questions, and the first section was aptitude, and the second section was technical. Aptitude consisted of quite easy questions, and this can prove as a key to selection, clearing this Bajaj written examination. And when you apply the technical, when you go for technical round, you must consider reading the subjects like solid mechanics, comdom, IC engines, and fluid mechanics. Out of 55 students those appeared for the written examination, 15 were shortlisted, and the interview panel comprised of two people. One was from technical section and other was from HR section. The first question they asked me was about, tell me about yourself, and I answered this question like what was my name, where I belong to, my schooling background, and my past academic performance, and my college track record, that I stood 6th position in the class of 92 students. Then I told them that apart from being an active participant and organizer in various technical and cultural events of the college, I have also tried to inculcate my inculcating myself technical innovativeness through by participating in a project named Baha for the last 2 years. I told them that I had participated in Baha for the last 2 years, and then they started asking me the questions about what the work I had done and what the problems that I faced while working in Baha, and what problems I eliminated in the vehicle that we had built last year. Then he asked about the engine specifications, type of gearbox we used, and then when I told him that we were using a constant mesh gearbox, he asked me to draw the layout of the gearbox and the entire power transmission from the engine to the wheels. And then he asked about which type of axle we were using and the type of joints universal joints that we used in the car, and I replied that they were CV joints. Then they asked me to quote an instance where I had applied my engineering knowledge. Then I told them that while testing the vehicle, we were facing the problem of axle coming out of the gearbox. Whenever there was a huge bump, the axle used to come out due to large travel of the shockers. But to eliminate this, first of all I tried to mount the engine a bit on the downward side, but this created a new problem, that the axle started hitting the lower member of the roll cage. And to eliminate this problem further, I suggested to cut down the shocker travel, and through these two efforts we could eliminate the entire problem. Then he asked me about my internship, and I told that I had done the JCB EGR testing at Padmini, VNI, Gurgaon. And then he asked me about types of EGR and what was the function of EGR, and he asked me to quote an example where pneumatic EGR was being used, and I answered all the questions. And after that he asked me about dynamometer, applications of dynamometer, and types of dynamometer that we were using, at Padmini, VNA, where I did my internship. And then he asked about rotameter and what are the components of rotameter. I answered all the questions. He asked me to ask any question that I had regarding the company, and I answered that I asked them that did they have any provision of fast track growth for those who were performing exceedingly well. And then he answered that yes, they had a provision like that. And further, if you want to ask any question, then you can ask. And I asked one more question, that how were they collecting the feedback regarding a particular employee? Was it from their subordinates of a particular employee or the bosses of that employee? Then they told me that it was a combined feedback from the customers the employee was dealing, and also the seniors of that employee. Useful tips for succeeding in Bajaj selection process. First one, I would like to suggest that you should have two sound subjects. In-depth knowledge of those subjects is required. and I would suggest that you revise those subjects during your summer vacations and at least give them 10 days or more. Secondly, I would say that you should try to divert the attention of interviewer towards your strong points, like I did while diverting their attention towards Baha when they asked me, tell me about yourself. Thirdly, I would say try to attempt aptitude section first, because it is the key to clearing Bajaj written, as I told earlier. Solve a few basic questions from R.S. Agarwal quantitative aptitude, and lastly I would say that you must ask a relevant question about the company when you are asked to do so.